All right, we're rolling. Penn State Blitz after the blue-white game.
That's right.
Won 21-10 by the blue. I thought it would be a blowout. You were right.
I was. I will take that.
But if I would have told you, Greg Pickle, here as we discussed first down here on the Blitz, that Mac Hippenhammer was going to probably be the MVP of the game. He caught 2 touchdown passes, including 1 late from Sean Clifford. Would you have laughed at me, or did you see it coming?
No, I don't know if I would have saw him quite as involved as he was. Maybe the late in the game one, but I thought it was impressive that a guy that was playing baseball for quite some time, obviously he stopped during Penn State spring football practice. He'll go back to it now that the blue-white game is over as his spring practice. But I didn't think he'd ascend quite as high up the list as he did. Now look, Juwan Johnson didn't play, Bob. That certainly played a role. DeAndre Tompkins didn't play. So there were you know, factors at play here other than what he's done. But he rose to the top of what group was left, and he looked pretty good. I don't know what his long-term future is. We saw Justin Shorter not far from where we're taping this earlier today. Bobby looks like a player, so we'll see. But I don't think I would have laughed at you, but I certainly don't know if I would.
You can laugh at me. You do it all the time.
It would have been okay, but I don't know if I'd have seen him getting that much rep.
So the question is, there's a history of players flashing during the blue-white game, and then you never really see them much in the fall. A couple years ago, there was a running back named Cole Chipiale, who really never did much after that. Do you think he's got a short-term or even a long-term future at Penn State as a wideout position?
Yeah, I do. I think there's something there. I think that when you look at him and KJ Hamler, who I don't know how much he did today.
He actually had a nice play, and then he fumbled at the end.
That's right, down the sideline.
Lamont Wade got him after, but he showed his speed.
Yeah, so I think that between him and Hippenhammer and some of the guys they have coming in, Jahan Dotson's a class of 2018 signee that has a lot of potential. I think Hippenhammer has a future here, but it's a crowded room for David Corley to figure out, Bob.
Now let's talk about here on the second down what a lot of people in the Harrisburg area want to talk about. You know, Micah Parsons is a big deal when they rent a bus full of Micah Parsons fans up from Harrisburg to come see Micah play. And he's young, and he's still figuring out outside linebacker now, weak side linebacker. But at the end of the day, 8 tackles, 5 solos. He had a sack. What do you think of Micah and what was really his debut for the fan base?
Yeah, you know, I thought that really what it came down to is he did some nice things, but you can tell there's still a learning curve. And James talked about January enrollees, how they'll be further ahead come the summer, and I think we can see that. But certainly, Bob, I thought there were some times when he was maybe not in the right spot, but he made a play because he's an athletic freak, and that's great, but it's also why he wasn't in the middle linebacker job competition for a long time, because Penn State knew that, you know, he's, not that he freelances, but he's a guy that if he's in the wrong spot, he'll make the play and he'll make it look good. But there were some instances today where he wasn't, and that obviously led to some bad things. But for the most part, I think it was a good showing. I think he had 6 tackles, led his team in tackles.
8. It was updated to 8.
Updated to 8, so there you go.
That's why I'm here.
That's right.
8.
So yeah, I thought he had a good day.
Well, let's just follow up with this real quick, because the LeVar Arrington comparison is very real.
Yeah.
He's actually bigger than LeVar was when LeVar got to Penn State. He's 6'3", 240. LeVar has already kind of reached out, and he's actually kind of taken him under his wing. He's like a pup. He wears the same jersey number as LeVar, number 11. And honestly, Greg, he might be faster than LeVar. After we found out he ran a 4.52 during winter conditioning at that size, that's really impressive. You know, is the comparison a little bit off, or do you think that if he continues to develop, we're talking about maybe 2.0?
Oh, he's on track to be it. There's no question about it. He has the size, he has the speed, and he has the raw physical abilities that Penn State will be able to mold. I think the one thing, Bob, is that, you know, he's a smart player, and again, there's times he ends up in the wrong spot. I don't think that's him not knowing where to be. I just think it's him learning how to play at the college level, and that your natural athleticism might be okay out on this field when you're playing Penn State's backups, but when you play Ohio State, not so much. So I do think he's on track to be the next Arrington, no question about it.
Those are some pretty big shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, third down here on the Blitz. You had a chance to talk to Michael Mennett.
Yeah.
After the game, he ran with the first team at right guard. Do you think that holds up, or do you think that Matt Limegrover, Penn State's offensive line coach, is still kind of tinkering with who his best 5
Well,
are?
the fact that James Franklin was pretty interested in the idea of him playing center sort of tells you all you need to know. I think that if in Penn State's perfect world, Mennett's a center, McGovern's a guard, and then they find another guard to, even whether it's Steven Gonzalez or somebody else. But I think they think that their best 5 is Mennett at center and McGovern at guard. So we'll have to see how it plays out. And then, Bob, I want to ask you your take on, you know, I thought Mennett played well, and that's all fine and well. We'll have more about that. But Will Fries and Chaz Wright, what's going on there?
I don't know. It seems to me that they're looking at they're looking at Will Fries and his versatility rather than maybe him being one of the best 5.
Yeah.
I think there's no question in my mind, athletically, he's probably a better option than Chaz Wright. Chaz Wright has an experience edge over him,
yeah.
But, you know, looks like they're committed to Ryan Bates back at left tackle, where he started 2017. And Chaz Wright was the starter at right tackle. It was noteworthy that Will Fries worked quickly at both left tackle and right tackle. He probably fits better as a swing tackle, but it's kind of hard to keep a guy that's that talented off the field. I still think, to your point about Michael Menet maybe winding up in a different position, and maybe this isn't necessarily what we'll see come the fall. They're going to play all those guys, and maybe that's kind of how they're looking at it. But it looks to me right now that they're preparing for Will Fries maybe to be the first tackle in the game off the bench, and he might finish games, but he might not start them. To me, that is a little surprising. I'm also surprised that Michael Menet is still in the conversation at center. To me, that's a little bit odd. At some point, you got to commit.
Right.
He's got to get some reps with the first team as the center if that's what he's going to do.
Right.
So the offensive line has clearly improved, but I think there's maybe a couple of things that still have to kind of play out, and maybe in August is going to be real interesting for the O-line. So let's get to 4th down. There were a lot of recruits at the Blue-White game. Once again, won by the Blue 21-10, so I lost my bet with you. I think I was giving you Blue. I had the Blue in 26, so that's a little bit of a sticking point. But James Franklin said they had 160 recruits here.
Just unofficial.
They were unofficial guys, and he kind of went on a little bit of a rant there that you asked him about all the things that go into what goes into getting all the recruits here. But you saw some success with that because they got their 3rd verbal commitment from the 2019 class, a big offensive guard who's one of the top prospects in the country.
No question. Caden Wallace, Prince of New Jersey, 4-star, guy's been on campus a number of times, Bob. Stay tuned. I don't think they're done this weekend, but as we talk now, that's what they have at this point in time. So I think that he brings a versatility. 6'5", over 300 pounds. He could play tackle, he could play guard. They'll figure it out when he gets here. He was by far one of the best linemen on the East Coast and probably nationally at the event down in New Jersey a couple weeks ago. So good get for the Lions. And I think the one thing, Bob, when you talk about the recruiting aspect of it is everybody wants to cut staff sizes now. Everyone, you know, picks on Alabama for having, you know, the 3 times the staff that everybody else does. But at the end of the day, if you're going to have these kind of official visit weekends and 200 kids on campus, somebody has to entertain them. So that's where it sort of comes into a give and take. And like James said, he's not sure if bigger sizes are better or bigger staff sizes are better, but that just might be where things are going.
All right, that's a wrap on the Penn State Blitz, the Blue-White 2018 edition. We'll be back to talk to you guys soon.